Okay, so let us start. So what did we do yesterday? We just looked at glorification of the Bhagavad Gita, what was so special and what is the purpose, and how do we we'll try to understand Bhagavad Gita. So we looked at those points, and Gita Mahatmya, we also heard that more about the. So let us start from chapter 1 today, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Okay, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Before that, let us pay obeisance to Sri Mangalacharana. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshumi Tamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrabhyascha Kripa Sindhavevacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascha Desha Tarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let us start. So this chapter is actually has two sections, like from verses from 1.1 to 1.27. It's all introductions, the preparations for war. And then we are going to see Arjuna's doubts, why he is denying to fight the war in the verses 1.28 to 1.46. And in this, there are some more subsections, like this, which we are going to do that today. 1.1, the section 1 is the first one is 1.1 to 1.11, preparation for war. Then we are going to see the signs of victory of Pandavas from Krishna. But this one we will see tomorrow, or the next class, and the section 2. Okay. So all it starts with the verse from Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra, what does he say? Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kemakrita Sanjaya. So, okay. So who wants to read this? Can anybody can raise your hands, and or you can just chant this sloka. Then we can look at this is in the Veda base. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhritarashtra Atha Pradhamodhyayah Arjuna Vishada Yoga Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyulsavaha Mamaga Pandava Chaiva Kim Agurvada Sanjaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, what does it say? The translation, Mataji, you can go read the translation too. Dhritarashtra said,
Dhritarashtra Uvacha, King Dhritarashtra said, Dharma Kshetre, in the place of...
one, you can go through the translation. Sanjay after.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at the Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Okay. So what is the scene today? We are seeing the battlefield. So in the battlefield, all are assembled. Hare Krishna, anybody else can say who all assembled in the battlefield now?
Pandavas and Kauravas.
Pandavas and Kauravas, supporters of Pandavas and Kauravas. And who was Pandu? Pandu was the brother of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra's and his brother Pandu. So their sons are there in the battlefield, and all the supporters on each side, they are assembled there. So what is the say? Say here in this verse, by addressing Sanjaya. Sanjaya is who? Is his companion, who is being given the vision to see what's happening in the battlefield by Vedvyas. So it's like we seeing the TV, no? Where whatever is happening, something happening in other countries, we see on the TV, not relate. Like that, Sanjay was given the vision to see what's happening in the battlefield. So Dhritarashtra is asking him, what are my sons? See, Mamaka and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight. What did they do? So what did they do? So there are a lot of things which comes out from here, from his sentence, from his asking this query. We can understand the mind of mentality of Dhritarashtra. And it's very explicit. The way he is showing his partiality. That is, my sons, and he could have said my nephews, no? That way it will be more relation, very thing. But he is not saying that. He's saying my sons and the sons of Pandu. And other things which is conspicuous very thing in this sloka is the place of pilgrimage. He says Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. And Kurukshetra means where actually they come from the Kuru dynasty, isn't it? So their forefathers, many line is much Malyalam, the Kurukshetra, when the king Kuru was used to do a lot of yajnas in that place. That's how it became known as Kurukshetra, because it was many of the lineage from the Kuru dynasty used to perform yajnas in that place, and all their rituals and everything. So that became a place of pilgrimage, and it is known as Kurukshetra after the king Kuru. So now he is asking, and why is this place so significant? And things. So what are the what you all understand from this? Anybody can tell about this Kurukshetra Dharmas being a pilgrimage place? What is the significance? Why did they choose that place to have their battle? Anyone can tell? Hare Krishna. Why did they do it? Why did they choose that?
It's a Dharma Kshetra.
Yeah. Yes, Mother. The others can also participate. And just make a guess. Why did they choose that place? It was a place of pilgrimage. Why did they choose that place to have their battle? Any guesses?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mother.
Is it because King Bharata did lot of penance and sacrifices in that place?
But why choose it to fight? Mataji? Why did they want to have the battle there?
Because when the goodness is already there in that place, that and this was a Dharma Yuddha also. So they wanted that to win over the bad. Is it something like that?
Okay, Mataji, we can say that. Anybody else has another view? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. If anybody else has got some more points to say, we can.
Actually, Mataji, it is a Dharma Yuddha. That is why it is in a place of pilgrimage.
Oh, because when you go to temple, sometimes, when they make a promise, they say, no, let us go to the temple or in front of a deity, and they try to make a promise so that they'll keep their word, isn't it? Same way, the battle, they want to have it here so that they will follow the rules and regulations. So they had certain niyama, when they fight, that they want to kill unnecessarily the animals, horses, and they had certain rules. And they will, once the sun sets, the battle will stop, and only to start in the morning. And like that, they had laid down many rules. So there is a certain rules which they follow. And they will like it to be in a place where they will honor those promises or honor those rules and regulations while having their fight. That's why they chose the place of pilgrimage. So now Dhritarashtra is worrying about the place, why it will have some influence on his sons. So he's there. So let us look at the regular purport. Okay, anyone wants to read the first paragraph? Anybody? Shefali Mataji? Anyone can offer them, just read it.
Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatma, glorification of the Gita. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita that all that is contained in other scriptures, but the readers will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what does it say? It says the Bhagavad Gita is the perfect theistic philosophy. We should not give our own interpretations because we have to understand as it is, how the Lord has given the thing, because it is coming straightly from him, right? And it also contains things which is not found elsewhere, especially about the soul, about the Jivatma, about the Tattva, about the relationship between the Jivas and the material nature and the Ishvara and all that. That is not found in many other scriptures about the soul, the transmission and all that. So this is the standard of Gita. So it starts off with, Acharya is now, Prabhupada starts off with telling us how it is a perfect stand, okay, for the Gita. And the topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, that is lays the foundation for this philosophy. And it is also, this is a part of Mahabharata, no? Because it's a thing. So we need to link it to the Mahabharata Itihas also. That's how it starts off with the conversation by Dhritarashtra. And this is only one time he speaks, right? And that becomes the fair basis for the philosophy. And that is what we can understand, how you can see if these things are applicable to our life or not, we can understand it. So this understood the philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from immemorial time. And it was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for guidance of mankind. Now we want to read. And here Prabhupada gives the reason why, being this place of pilgrimage, he is worried, Dhritarashtra, that it will have an influence on his sons and on his on Pandavas also. And why he is worried about the influence? He wants the war, isn't it? He wants the war. He is very much desiring to have the war because he wants to be the king and he wants to know the outcome of the war, because he wants the war to take place so that he can still be the king. He is so attached to the throne, so much attached to the throne that attachment has become blind to any other. And in fact, he is risking his own sons in this battle and everybody else. And the whole world, the whole universe, everyone has assembled there to fight. Okay? And is risking all their things. And all for what? He wants to be the king and he wants to hold on to that throne. Though he knows that the rightful heirs are his nephews, the sons of Pandu, are the ones who are to reign this Hastinapur, but still he doesn't. And he just uses everybody and he just goes after the Duryodhana. You see, even if they win, Duryodhana wins, he still will be the king, no? So he wants to hold on to that. So that is it. And you can see, and actually as a king, he should give protection to everyone, and also, and more so to his nephews, because they don't have their father. And right from their young age, he has been allowing Duryodhana to have his own way, and he was just protecting his sons because he wants to have it for himself. Okay. So these are the things which comes out. And don't you think that you can see this kind of thing which is happening even in today's world, isn't it? The way the war which is going between Russia and Ukraine, they're so bent upon on their views, they want to have their own way, and they don't mind waging war and killing innocent people, or destroying the many buildings and many infrastructures and whatever the resources they have. They are just utilizing and wasting. So they are so attached to that thing, right? So here, what does Prabhupada say? Anybody read this paragraph? The word Dharma Kshetra. Over it. This chapter is very, this purport is very, thing we need to understand this purport very well, because the whole thing is being involved here. Okay, let us go. Yes, Rupa Raju, rise. Raise the hand. The word Dharma Kshetra.
The word Dharma Kshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his enquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the two cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield. Because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as the place of worship, even for the
denizens of heaven.
Yeah. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield. Hare
So
Krishna.
what is the emotions he was desiring? He desires he wants the victory of the thing, but he is worried. Why? Because in the place is also pilgrimage, and they might come to some negotiation, and Duryodhana might agree for a negotiation, and they might not be a war. Or the Pandavas might agree, become very remorseful, and they say, okay, why fight at all? You yourself take the kingdom, and they might walk away. So there might not be a battle. But if there's a battle, then he wants to have the victory for his sons. So that is he has these are the emotions we see. Desire, and there's a doubt in his mind that it might not take place or anything, but he wants the war to take place. And he's fearful, and he's hoping, that they will win. So these are the kinds of things, and this material attachment which he has, which is the attachment to this crown, is so unreasonable, isn't it? And he goes to that extent of risking his own son's life. So that is what happens even in the matrimony. People just work. They want to have so many. They not have enough of firehouses. They want 10 houses. They want to have more cars. They just work like anything, right? 24 hours just to keep on accumulating the wealth. And finally, one day they may not. And what is that thing? Once they leave the body, they have to leave everything and go. And for what reason? So why they get so enamored in making money? So that is also, we can see all people, politicians, how they engage in all kind of politics, engaging one group to the other group. So that is the thing. So they are becoming blind to the dharma. he is allowing his son to do what all evil did. See, he disturbed his Pandavas in so many ways, isn't it? He cheated them from in the game of dice. He cheated them in and also burned their house. And so many things he has been giving them trouble. And finally, when Krishna was sent there for negotiating, just give them 5 villages. Even that, Duryodhana was not agreeing. And for this, Dhritarashtra kept quiet. He never argued. He was just going because he let Duryodhana behave in whatever manner, and he was to the extent of doing sinful activities, adharma. So he didn't mind because he was so attached to that crown. He wanted to be the king all the time. So that is the thing which is very evident here in this purport. And then, lastly, Prabhupada says, yes, another one can read this paragraph. Both the Pandavas and the sons of anybody else can. I'm just going through this purport because you all need to understand the points, how Acharyas you give their explanations. Okay. Yes,
Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as the Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One has thus understood the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion Sri Krishna was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's sons, Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetre and Kurukshetre, apart from their historical and Vedic importance.
So here it was what the Acharya says is that he gives and in these purports now we can see in many of the verses we're coming now, you can see a lot of analogies which Prabhupada writes. It is so easy to understand just looking at the analogies. Here, what is the analogy he's using? He says that in a field, what happens when the farmer, when he's cultivating the crops, he will first remove all the weeds, no? Because the weeds will obstruct the growth of his crops. So he will remove the weeds. Same way here, the farmer is the Lord Krishna and the field is the Kurukshetra and the weeds are all Dhritarashtra's sons. And then he wants to establish the kingdom headed by Yudhishthira because he is up with Dharmic. So that's a Dharmic. And this, so right from the beginning itself, you know the outcome of the battle. That once the Lord is there will always be the religious dharma only will win and nothing else. So this is outcome is known very clearly, right? So here, this is the analogy which the Prabhupada writes so that we can understand the outcome. So let us see what Sanjaya say, right? We'll go to back to our thing. So what did we learn here from this thing? That we understood that Bhagavad Gita, it has got physics, the perfect philosophical science, because it has not only what other scriptures has, it's got much more, which is not found in thing. That is about the soul and all that. And then Dhritarashtra's fears and concerns, we looked at that. And it's all because he was an unjust king and he was attached to that. Then now we see what is Sanjaya replying to it. Okay, that comes in the verses 2 and 3. So Sanjay Vacha, Vishtva tu Pandava Nikam, Yodam Duryodan Sada, Acharyam Upassan, Gamya Raja Vachanna Bravet. So what does he say? Now he is addressing Duryodhana as king, Duryodhana, because he is a king. Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. So, Raja, so he is telling that as Acharya is, and why he's running towards the thing? Because he saw the military formation done by the Pandavas. He was very surprised. He didn't expect such a formation done by the Pandavas, and he didn't expect there'll be so many supporters to the Pandavas. So he was taken aback, and then though he's a king, but still he went to his teacher and he spoke the following words. And here in the purport, so you can read that here the Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Anybody else? So
Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they would never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjaya wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king, and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son, Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer would not disguise the fear he felt for the Pandavas.
So he was fearful. So he was taken aback and he couldn't understand how they have arranged. And here Sanjaya he could understand the motive in the way the Dhritarashtra was asking the question, right? What are they doing? See, when they have come to the battlefield, they are going to fight. There's nothing as though they're going to do something else. But because the influence of the place, he was doubtful. The Dhritarashtra was doubtful. So Sanjaya is now assuring him, no, don't worry. Your son is not going to listen to anything. He is going to have the battle will be there. And now he's running towards the Dronacharya because as he was, and actually there's a fear in his mind. And then he saw the seriousness of the situation because the military formation was done by who was Nandas the son of Drupada. Okay. So he says, Pashyatam
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Pashyetam Panduputranam Acharya Mahati Chamam Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
So here, two things are to be seen here. Pashyatam. Behold this. Acharya, see what has come here. The Drupada Putrena. Behold the great army of the sons of Pandu. So expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. So Dhimata. So Dhimata means intelligent, your Shishya. So he is not even telling the name of the Drupada's son. Drupada's son was Drishtudima, isn't it? But he's not saying. Now why is he being so sarcastic? And that too is to his guru. So that shows we saw the mentality of Dhritarashtra by that. Now we are seeing the mentality of Duryodhana. Okay. So he wants to show the defects in Dronacharya now because he's the commander-in-chief and he wants to tell, see what you have done and look at the way they have expertly arranged the army over there. Mahatma Chamu, right? And now, what is it? You're the cause of it. See, he was taken aback by the huge army and also the way it was being expertly arranged. And now that fear has come into him, so he's running to the thing. He wants to blame somebody. So when he panic, he wants to shout at someone or say it is all because of you, this is happening. And many times we do face such things, isn't it? When something happens, when something goes wrong, there will be always people who will say, no, no, all because of you, this has happened. Like this, you shouldn't have done this, you should have this, that. Many reasons come. So here he is now pointing out the defects in Dronacharya, and he says, it's all because of you. You knew that the son of Drupada would be the cause for your death, but still you accepted him as your disciple. And not only accepted, you also taught him all the military warfare, how to do it. And now look what has happened. He has come there and he has arranged such a thing, and we have to face it. So he is bringing out the seriousness of the situation, and instead of taking the advice or the way he has to approach, he is approaching him with a very chastising. That is, he wants to point out and why he wants to instigate anger of Dronacharya, so that he won't be lenient to the students, because it's not just Drishtadhyumna who's there. All his favorite students are on the other side, like Arjuna is his favorite one. So he wants to make sure that Dronacharya don't be lenient in his fighting. So he is instigating his anger. So that's what is being said here, that he wanted to point out that he should not be. So Duryodhana is pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. So in this way, he wanted to be sure that he won't show any leniency in the fight. Okay? Because, and this also shows his dark side, how he is. Then he continues. So in this, he will continue to talk about other things, and continues to continue in his thing. That he approaches, and here we saw that opposing general is Drishtadhyumna, is referred as son of Drupada instead of telling this name, and is provoking Dronacharya, so that he will not favor, he will fight properly and he will not be lenient in fighting, right? And then he continues. So in this, we can see in coming verses how he is like a politician, a diplomat, and and Dhritarashtra is also very unjust. He is not only blind physically, he is blind spiritually. Even his sons are also blind. So in these verses, he is going to mention now he is now going to analyze the entire army. So you see here, Mataji, who want to sloka, these 4 slokas we read together. Okay, Mataji, go ahead. Atra Shura Maheshwasa. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Atra
Mataji.
Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Viratasya Drupadasya Maharatha.
So here in the army, there are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yudhana, Virata and Drupada. And then this also, Drishtaketu.
Drishtaketusche Chekitana Kashirajasya Viryavan Purjakunta Bhogasya Shaibasya Narapungavaha.
So there are other powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraja, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja and Sandhya. Then some more he reads.
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तम औजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः.
So there are other powerful sons of Subhadra, then sons of Draupadi. Then Asmakam to Vishishtava.
Asmakam tu Vishishtaye Tani Buddha Dijottama Nayaka Mama Sainyasya Sadnyartha Tamravimite.
So he now explained who are the best warriors and things. He has named them on the other side, on the Pandava side. Now he doesn't want to show his fear. No, he wants to tell his own people that no, even we have many warriors on our side also. So he is now going to explain about his warriors. So this is how they explain it. Bhavan.
भवान् भीमश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च.
So there are personalities. Now you see, now when he's talking about from his side, he's telling, oh, no, there are personalities like you. See, in the first he criticized Dronacharya. Now he's saying, no, you are there, personalities, you are there, Bhishma Dev is there, Karna. Then he's talking about Kripacharya. Kripacharya is, I think is Dronacharya's sister's husband, Kripacharya. Then Ashwatthama is the son of Dronacharya. See, the way he's giving these names, it just shows, he's being trying to be diplomatic. He first he criticized him, showed his mistake, and now he's specifying him, say, no, you are also there, Bhishma Dev is there, Karna there, Kripa, Ashwatthama, and Vikarna. Vikarna was his one brother of him who opposed when Draupadi was insulted that time. So now he was support of it, that brother also. So he is naming him. And the son of Somadatta called Bhusha, were always victorious in battle. So these are the Maharathas who are always been. So he mentions the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. And the way he mentions the names is, you can see they were very wantonly, so that they will always support him. Okay. And then he continues to say, Hare Mataji.
अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः.
So here, there's one thing which word is to be really looked at is Tyaktavata Jivita. So here says there are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for me. See, to attain his goal, to retain his hold on the throne, he is prepared to sacrifice his own friends, his own people. So he says they have come to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all are experienced in military science. This is what they are doing. So they are so evil-minded that he is concluded already that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was confident of the victory on account of the above combined strength. See, this is what his confidence was there. He might translate, otherwise he wouldn't have think. If it's on his own, he knows he can't fight with the Pandavas. He knows his own strength and all that and weakness. And he was depending on the strength of his friends, combined strength of his friends. His Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, I think he was depending on them only and not on his own. So now he has to play the role so that they will fight thing and he will be able to get victory. So this was his confidence.
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्विदम् एतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्.
So our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather. So this is what it was the thing. See, Bhishma Dev at that time, he was about 400 years around that age, and he was depending on Bhishma Dev because that was the strength, and he knows that on the other side is only by Bhima. For him, Bhima only will be there as the thing because if at all he dies, he knows that he will die only in the hands of Bhima. So that was the always envious of Bhima. So that is one thing. So he was confident of his victory on account of Bhishma, isn't it? So this is a clearly seen. So what we are seeing when here Sanjaya is just relating the what is the conversation was going on there at the battlefield, Duryodhana. Okay. And indirectly he is also telling that Duryodhana's thing is only, in any situation, it's not enough to see only the positive side. You have to see the other side also. Because you have to, if you want to evaluate any decision you have to take, you have to look at the pros and cons. So here, whatever Duryodhana explaining, we should also see his mentality. You should also see how he is playing the role. Yes, Prabhuji. Is any question? So I'll just okay. So that please take care of a background noise. So that now I'm just going through these purposes so that you can understand the mentality of these, and such personalities are, we can see them even in our day-to-day life. So then all of you now, and then because he was praising the person like Bhishma Dev, now he wants to pacify his friends. So now he says, all of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx. So now, after praising the prowess of Bhishma Dev, now he considers the others might think that being less important. So in his usual diplomatic way, he is trying to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized the Bhishma Dev was undoubtedly the great hero, but he was an old man. So everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. Okay. And it was important so that they will also think. So clearly, Duryodhana felt that victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma. And he was very confident of his support. Why? Because they didn't speak when Draupadi was being insulted in the Raja's Deva. That time they didn't speak a word. When Arjuna's wife Draupadi and Arjuna had appealed to them for justice. One should think. So he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for Pandavas, and he hoped that they will now support him completely. So this is what is he had confidence that they will win because of the Bhishma Dev being on his side. And in all this dialogue, he never looked at Krishna. For him, Sri Krishna was just a charioteer, and he has all his army is there with him on the Duryodhana's side. And Krishna had already said that he wanted to lift a weapon. So for him, it was insignificant. He never even looked at Krishna. Never, for him, that didn't even come into his mind. All he was looking at was Bhima and Arjuna and people there. And for him, Bhishma Pitama is there on his side, Dronacharya, and he was confident. Otherwise, So you might wonder why Bhishma Dev was playing this role here, isn't it? What do you all think? Why did Bhishma Dev support here, or why is Bhishma Dev? He's a great Mahajan. He's a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Then why is here on this side of Duryodhana? Can you all understand why did Krishna place him here? Can you all give an example, again, a reason? Hare Krishna, can you all think about why is Bhishma Dev here, placed in Duryodhana's side?
Because he had sworn that he would always support royal family. He will be always with them only.
Yes, that was the pratigna he made, okay, because of that. But why did Krishna wanted him to be there? I mean,
because he participated in adharma by not raising his voice when Draupadi was insulted.
Yeah. So one thing is in whatever the play with the Lord's pastimes, what do you think? When he comes down, all his associates also will come, and he will place them in a proper manner because the adharma was going up so much, he wanted it to be rectified. So when he comes, he will place them in a proper. See here, Dhritarashtra had the association of Bhishma Dev and Vidura. They were all good association, isn't it? They were always giving him good advice. But Dhritarashtra was blind. He was deaf. He never listened to them because for him, that desire was so profound, that desire was so intense for the throne that he couldn't listen to any of the words spoken by Bhishma or by Vidura. So even if he had good association, even if he had been in he was born in a palace thing, but because of his blindness, physical blindness, he could not become the king. That became his full mission in the life. That was his only agenda, to be the king of Astra. and he wouldn't even, he will go to any means. So that was Dhritarashtra. And Duryodhana will never fight if it was not for Bhishma. But how to bring all these people to
Mataji, you can
I just transmitted. Okay. So please take care of the bad news. So this is the reason, because Krishna wanted Bhishma Dev on that side, so that Duryodhana and all his friends, all have become puffed up. They will become very proud, and they were doing all sorts of adharma activities. They were all siding Duryodhana. He wanted them all to come to the battlefield, and that could be done only. How will he get the courage to come to the battlefield if not for Bhishma, right? So Duryodhana, so Bhishma. So this is what happens to the devotees. So with the devotees, they wouldn't mind doing playing this role if for Krishna, because that's what happens. And you also know that Jai, I think when they took the role of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranaksha, so they took that role because they knew the Lord wanted them to, and who can fight in front of the Lord? It has to be somebody has like a Mahajans, right? That's a great devotees. So they wouldn't mind to play the role of being on the other side. So we should understand how this whole thing is being played by the Lord. He wants though he knows he's a great devotee, he wants this devotee to be that side, so that he could bring everybody to the battlefield at the same time and remove the weeds from the earth. That is what the intention was by the Lord. So here it was clearly seen. Here Duryodhana would never come to the battlefield if not for Bhishma Dev, because he was confident. I am having Bhishma grandfather with me, and no one can beat him. So I am sure of the victory. So that was the entire. And the way he is playing, and he's ready to sacrifice his own friends also. And you know what all it. So this is the thing we need to understand. Another thing we need to understand here is why these verses. In these verses, we saw the names of all the heroes and all being mentioned. So in one of the lectures by Prabhupada, in London thing, he was saying that people may ask, by mentioning these greater fighters, what spiritual progress we make? Because we are meant for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, why should we chant the names of these great fighters? Because when you're chanting the Bhagavad Gita slokas, you'll be chanting these names of the great fighters also. Now, what do we gain? So the question may be raised. Now the thing is that Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha, anything which is connected with Krishna, whether it's a material energy or it is material thing, or as a human being, or if they are mentioned in connection with Krishna, then they also become things. This is the subtle form of philosophical understanding. So this we need to understand. So we have to see if we are connected. Like now, we are using this laptop. It's a material thing, but we are using it for having this discourse. This pravachana that is talking about Bhagavad Gita. So it is we spiritualize this material energy, material things. So anything which is used in connection with Krishna, it also becomes spiritual. So this is what we need to understand here, that then even if it's mentioned the names of the fighters, but it is mentioned in connection. And you saw, and this is taken by Mahapurava, that there were so many elephants, horses, soldiers, infantry, and all these warriors. Like they had 7 Akshoni with Pandavas, 11 Akshoni with Kauravas, and all that over were there. And even if it is chariot, even if it's animals, all were there in the battlefield. They would all be surely get mentioned, and they will get moksha. Okay. So this is what we need to understand, and what we see, analyze the political behavior of Duryodhana. That is what we see in these verses, that the way he saying is a son of Drupada, in order to make sure that Dronacharya would not be lenient. And he mentioned all the great heroes so that Dronacharya would take the war seriously. And he's saying that he also mentioned, actually he mentions the Dronacharya's name before Bhishma, because then Bhishma Dev will be happy, because Brahmana's name should come before the Kshatriya. That is the etiquette. Then he further mentioned the name of Kripacharya, Ashwatthama as chief captains. Then Vikarna, as I said, he was not a Maharathi, but in order to inspire him to fight on his side, because he was the only one from Kaurava side who opposed the incident of disrobing Draupadi. So to make sure that Vikarna will fight for him, that he mentions his name. And there are many other heroes who are prepared to lie well. So this is very clearly. So Aparibda, it's immeasurable. It could be, say, for Bhishma Dev, it could be Aparibda grandfather, but it could mean both ways. It's either immeasurable or it's incomplete. Okay, but he was a Pakka politician. The way he played on the words and he played on the thing. But now we have to see what does Bhishma Dev says. Let me see what's the time. So shall we continue a little bit on these verses, or we take some questions? What was the response of Bhishma Dev? We'll just take few questions. So Bhishma Dev was, what happens? He starts great buzzing, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. He doesn't answer it. He doesn't discuss there or anything. He knows the mentality of his grandson. So he just says, Kururadha Pitamaha Simhanadam Vinadacha Sankam Dadma Pratap. So he just started blowing his conch shell, so to give Duryodhana joy. This natural comes. See, he was grandfather, it's a grandfather. So he has to, he still feels compassion to his grandson. Because whatever we say, one thing is not able to understand, is not coming out of that selfishness. So, and the envious nature. So he just to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his brother. But indirectly, actually, the symbolism of conch shell is what is Vishnu. So he is telling, you are a fool, there's Krishna is there on the other side. And my duty is to fight for you. But I won't spare the thing, but you should be, there is no chance of victory in the battle, because the Lord is on the other side. So he is telling indirectly, but it doesn't get into the mind of Duryodhana. Because whatever I think, I might do my duty here, because I will fight for you, but still there's no chance of victory. So he just simply, I think, blows his conch shell, and once he blows the conch shell, all the others also will start blowing their conch shells, and they will be uproar. Then drums, bugles, something, and they'll be all sounded. You know, in a battlefield, all different people will have their own way of trumpets and bugles and drums, you know, to give their own codes of conduct and understanding each other's. So they were all sounded, and combined sound was tumultuous, right? And what happens on the other side? Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conscience. So what happens now? Here, the Madhava and Pandavas Chaiva, Divya Shankau Pradha. That is, their conscience are Divya, transcendental. So they, once the sounds come from the Kaurava side, then on the Pandava side, Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they sound their transcendental conscience. So the sounding of conscience, Prabhupada says, there was no hope of victory for the other side, because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu Putrana Vesham Pakshe Janardana. So victory is always with persons like sons of Pandu. So Sanjaya is actually pointing out these signs of victory to the Dhritarashtra. But Dhritarashtra, so at least even now, if he understands, he can stop the war. It was not too late. But still, so he is trying to point out the signs of victory. But you know how Dhritarashtra is blind. So, and here it says, wherever and whenever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there, because she never lives alone without Arjuna. So victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transient sound produced by conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So besides that, the chariot on which they were seated was donated by Agni Deva. Okay, this indicated the chariot was capable of conquering all sides. So in this, we see that signs of victory. And now all the others also, like the conch shell which Lord Krishna blew was Panchanjanya, and Arjuna's was Devadatta, and Bhima's was Poundra. So here, in this, they say Panchanjam Rishikesha. And here Prabhupada writes why he is referred as Rishikesha, because he is the owner of all senses. And therefore he is the sense living entities are part and parcel of him. The senses of living entities are also part and parcel. Here the devotees. So now the Lord, if he will direct depending on how much we surrender to the Lord, to that extent he will reciprocate. But if it is his own devotees, then he will directly control them, because on the Lord is directly controlling the transient sense of Arjuna, because he is his devotees. So if it is devotees, he will directly control them. But if it is for other living entities, it depends on the degree of surrender. So here in this Bhagavad Gita, there are many names which will come for Lord Krishna. So like Madhusudana, here it is known as Poundra, Devadatta, Dhananjaya, Bhima, Karma, Vrikuda, Rishikesha. Then Dhananjaya, how Arjuna is known as Dhananjaya here. So there are many names. He says Madhusudana because he killed the demon name of Madhu. Then Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows. Then Vasudeva because he appeared as a son of Vasudeva. Devaki Nandana because the accepted as Devaki as his mother. Then Yashoda Nandana because childhood pastures in church. So there are different names, and depending on the section, their names are called. Even Arjuna is referred as Dhananjaya. And Prabhupada gives the reason, because he helped his elder brother in fetching the wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditure for different things. Okay, so here we hear that there is a conch shells and the signs of victory. So then this other verses also is already conch shells by blowing by King Yudhishthira, Nakula Sahadeva, then King of Kashi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, all who are present, they all was encouraged by the thing. So, blowing of these conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. So, Ridyani Vedara, Nagascha, Prithvin Chaiva, Tumulo Abhyara. So, this is what happened to the sons of Dhritarashtra, and this could be seen by Sanjaya. When Bhishma and others on the thing blew their conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the heart of Pandavas. Okay, but in the heart of sons of Dhritarashtra was shattered by the sounds of Pandavas. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. So when you take shelter of Lord Krishna, there is nothing to fear, because they know the Lord will protect them. So there was nothing to fear. So they were not shattered by the sound, because there were huge army that side, isn't it? But still they were quite calm. Whereas the sons of Dhritarashtra is shattered. Okay. So let us come back to our. So this is the thing, and then we saw the different conch shells names. For Krishna's conch shell was Panchanjanya, Devadatta was Arjuna, Poundra was Bhima, Ananta Vijaya Yudhishthira, Nakula was Sugosha, Manipushpaka. Okay. So, and we have different names for Krishna depending on the situation, you see how Arjuna will be addressing it. Okay, Janardana means making. Okay, then blowing became approaches hearted. So finally, Arjuna prepared to fight, asked Lord Krishna to draw chariot between promise. That is the thing. We will end with this sloka. And the signs of victory, you all know, it has been given because of the Krishna being there, goddess of fortune will be there. And it was a place of Kurukshetra. Hanumanji was there on Arjuna's flag. Then symbol of Vishnu is a conch shell, transcendental. Okay. So we specify Duryodhana, Agni Devas, and Shattering of gods. Okay. So what is the lessons we learned today? At least we come back to this. Anyone can think? Hare Krishna. I think okay. Yes,
I have one question. Can I ask?
yes, Mataji. That's why we stopped here.
I have a question in 1.15 when Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesha. In this verse, why was he referred to as Rishikesha? Because he is owner of all senses. I didn't understand the context with this particular shloka.
Because in this sloka, what happens? He is the senses. He is directing the whole thing, isn't it? He's directing the whole. He actually, though he is chariot, he will be controlling the senses of Arjuna. Isha means senses, and Rishikesha is a master of senses. Okay.
Okay.
So in this verse, because he directs, he will be controlled. They will be direct. He is the living. We are part of it. So our senses are also will be part of his senses, right?
So does it also mean that the whole war is basically directed by him? So everything is going to happen as on the dharma side. That is what it means.
Yes, because he says in chapter 15, Carlos me. I am the one who arranged the whole thing. You are just a nimitra matram. You are just an instrument in my hand. So we are just an instrument. He says in chapter 15, right? It's a Carlos me. Because Arjuna will ask, who are you? Because after seeing his Virat Rupa, no, that was in chapter 11, yeah. When he shows his universal form, he gets scared, no? The way all the sons of the Rashtra, Krishna, and everybody is entering into the mouth of the Lord and the mouth thing. So he sees that fearsome figure, no? Then he gets shattered, then he gets scared. That time Krishna says, I am Kalos, I am the one. It's a destruction. So he is the one who is mastering, managing the whole thing, maintaining, destructing is all by his order. So this plan was to bring everyone to the same place in the battle, to one place. That's what is his plan. So even this side as well as the other side, they all should go. And then the burden on the earth has to be reduced because they were all puffed up with their wealth and then intelligence, their strength and thing, and they were doing all atrocious thing and they were things. So they had to be thing. And others, and to fight them, he has to bring his own people, no? So they were there also on the Pandava side who had come, associates who had to fight. So he had to bring them also. And their term also will be over. So that's how he got the whole thing done. So it was the plan of the Lord. And every little thing which is happening in our life, it has to be there, some force there. Nothing grows, nothing, no blade of grass moves without his control. There is a control there, but we forget it. We have come here and we have forgotten the presence of the Lord. We have forgotten our sambandha with him. And we think it is moving as per that, but the whole nature is working under his control.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes, that's why. And you must see that, Prabhupada, I mean, here, right from the beginning, we can see the presence of the Lord. That's how it is there, but we forget it. In all these slokas, in all this dialogue, conversation, we can make out that Duryodhana doesn't acknowledge the presence of the Lord. He is only putting all his faith on Bhishma Dev's strength. But Bhishma Dev knows that he is fighting against Dharma and he will lose. And he is prepared to take up anything but he has taken this role to play here. So he will play this duty because that's what Krishna wants him to play. Krishna wants him to fight that side. So that he does that. So these are the things which we learn and what we learn from Dhritarashtra. So he was an unjust king and he is telling and asking what did they do. Actually, they have come to fight. What else will they do? But he is worried. And why he is in anxiety? Because he is the material attachment to his throne. And he wants to be the king all the time. All the time. So that unreasonable, the way he was, and he was taking the shelter of Adharma. He was letting Duryodhana do everything. And all the things is done. So that was, he was blind. He was spiritually blind. Though he had good association, good people around to advise him. But he was not taking. He was deaf to everything. He was only, his desire was so intense, so intense. And then we see the analogy. And I think I'll be pointing out the analogies here because Prabhupada gives a very good thing where we can easily understand. So the whole thing here, it clearly shows that he is the farmer. Krishna is the farmer. He is sowing the thing and he will remove the weeds. So it is in his hand. The field is the Kurukshetra. Okay. And what do we learn from Duryodhana? Is the demonic nature and the way he is chastising his own guru there. And actually he's depending on them only for his victory. But still, the fear in him, that the fear and the way he saw the strength there and the way it was arranged, he was taken aback. That panicked. In this panic, he comes here and blows it, saying anger on Dronacharya. And he's saying, behold, you're intelligent. And that too, intelligent disciple doesn't even say the name. He says, son of Drupada. And why he wants to chastise the Guru? He wants full support from the Guru. He should not be lenient while fighting. And thing. So when you analyze the strength of both sides, we see that we have to see the darker side of Duryodhana. Because in any situation, there will be positive side and negative side. We need to evaluate both. We can't just look at one. As a perception should not be biased. It has to be seen on both the sides. Only then you'll be able to take a proper decision or take a proper guidance, isn't it? So that is what we learn here. These are the lessons we learn from these two personalities. And then Sanjaya. Sanjaya has been silently trying to point out the things so that Dhritarashtra will, at least at this moment, he can change his mind. Or he wants to say, because he knows Dhritarashtra wants the fight, the battle to win. He can understand. And he knows what, and the signs of victory is already clearly there. But he couldn't say anything, but he does point out. And we see all the signs of victory there. And moreover, we see Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Vishikesha. So these are the things which comes out in these verses. So anything which is connected to Krishna is Krishna. It will be all done by the plan of the Lord. Okay, so Krishna Sambandha. Hare Krishna. And here we say material energy. When I say, like, you can take the example of the clouds. The clouds, the water gets evaporated and the clouds form. And once the clouds form, it obscures the sun. You can't see the sun. So like that, the way we are getting materially, we are get entangled. And with the sense gratification, what happens? However, we forget the Lord because we don't remember the Krishna. So he said, unless we connect everything, whether it's material or thing, we cannot climb onto the platform of spiritual platform. Okay. Any other questions in these verses? Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Yes.
could you please tell that Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha? I didn't understand the meaning of that line.
Nirbandha Krishna, anything, everything which is connected to Krishna, even if it's a name of the, because here in the slokas, you see, he recites, he mentions the names of the warriors. Okay. So we will say, why should we chant when we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra? Why should we take the names of the warriors when you are chanting the Bhagavad Gita slokas? But even if it's the name of the warriors, but it is, they are there playing in the war, with Krishna. So they are there, their role is there in this battlefield. So anything which is connected to Krishna, it is spiritual, it is auspicious. So we should not think that it's not it's inauspicious to take the names of those warriors. It's not so. Because anything which is connected to the Lord, it is auspicious. That's a subtle philosophy which just comes out here, which Prabhupada says in this lecture. Okay? Because even if it is material or if it's the name of a living entity or anything, if it is connected to the Lord, then it is spiritual. It becomes spiritualized. That's why when we say, we take prasad, when we offer the food to the Lord and then and then take it, then the food becomes prasad. It becomes spiritualized. It might be just a material thing, but still once you offer it to the Lord and then take it, it becomes prasad. Right? Any book. Otherwise, it's just book. Okay? Either you become a bhokta or you can become a bhakta. Depends on whom you turn to. Either you turn to Krishna or you can turn to your own satisfaction. Okay? Throughout, this is what is going to come in this Bhagavad Gita. That's the underlining thing which you can remember. Fine?
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I just stop this.